Welcome to 8.3, the Law of Cosines. Some of our objectives: solve sine angle sine triangles, solve side 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 triangles, and then use these to solve applied problems. So for our first example today, solve each triangle using the law of sines. The law of cosines, specifically side angle side. So we are given two sides and an angle. So what is law of cosines for side angle side? Well, that's where we can say a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine a. So let's fill in what we know. We have 6 squared plus 3 squared minus 2 times 6 times 3 cosine of 70. This is 36 plus 9 minus 36 cosine 70. So a squared is approximately 32.687. So if we take the square root, we're left with a is approximately 5.72. Okay, so we have A, we have B, we have C, we have angle A, so now we need angle B and angle C. So let's find angle B next, and we'll use B squared is A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine of B. And the reason we're using this is because this equation has the angle B in it. So we can isolate it and figure out what its value is. B squared, we have 6 squared equals 5.72 squared plus 3 squared minus 2 times 5.72 times 3 cosine of that missing angle B. This will give us, if I move these over, I'll be left with a negative 5.7184. And if I multiplied all these out, I would have negative 34.32 cosine B. And dividing, leaves me with cosine B equals 0.167. So we need to take the inverse, right? B equals cosine inverse of 0.167, which is approximately 80.4 degrees. So we have B. And C is just 180 degrees minus 70 minus 80.4, which is 29.6. So we have C. So we have completed the triangle. We've solved the whole triangle. Here we have B is 3, C is 9, and the angle A is 127 degrees. So let's use A squared because we don't have A. A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine of A. This gives us 9 plus 81 minus 54 cosine of 127. All I did was multiply everything out. So this is approximately 122.498. Now that's a squared. So a is the square root of that, which is about 11.07. So we have A, B, and C. We have angle A. Let's find angles B and C. So once again, I'm going to use B squared equals A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine of that angle B that I'm looking for. 9 equals 122.5449. That's A squared. Plus 81 minus 199.26 cosine B. The A really makes it a little messy. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract this over to the other side. That's going to give me a negative 194.5449 equals negative 199.26 cosine B. Dividing on both sides will leave us with cosine B is approximately 0.976. So angle B, oh no, B is cosine inverse 0.976, which is approximately 12.49 degrees. So we have B. And angle C is just 180 minus 11 point, oh no, that's a side. 127, there we go, and 12.49. That gives us 40.51 degrees for angle C. And that triangle is solved. Next up, solve each triangle using the law of cosines, side, side, side. So this time they're just giving us sides. We need to find all three angles. So our law of cosines for side, side, side tells us that cosine A is B squared plus C squared minus A squared over 2BC. And that would give us 5 squared plus 6 squared minus 3 squared over 2 times 5 times 6. And that's approximately 0.867. So that's the cosine. If I just want the A, I have to take cosine inverse, which gives us 29.93 degrees. So we have A. Let's find B. Cosine B is A squared plus C squared minus B squared over 2AC. Filling those in, we have 3 squared plus 6 squared minus 5 squared over 2 times 3 times 6. That gives us about 0.56. So B is going to be cosine inverse of that value, which is approximately 56.25 degrees. Leaving us with C, which is just going to be 180 minus 29.93 minus 56.25, which gives us 93.82. And we've solved another triangle. Okay, here we have 2, 8, and 7. So let's do the same. Cosine A will give us b squared plus c squared minus a squared over 2bc, which is 8 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 squared over 2 times 8 times 7. It's approximately 0.973. So A is cosine inverse of this value, which is approximately 13.29 degrees. Let's continue to B. Cosine of B, a squared plus c squared minus b squared over 2ac is 2 squared plus 7 squared minus 8 squared all over 2 times 2 times 7, which is approximately negative 0.393. Getting b alone is cosine inverse of this value, which is approximately 113.13 degrees. Leaving us with c, which is 180 minus 13.29 minus 113.13, leaving us with an angle of 53.58. Lovely. And our application. A plane leaves airport A and travels 690 degrees, or 90 miles to airport B on a bearing of north 42 degrees east. The plane later leaves airport B and travels to airport C 525 miles away on a bearing of south 81 degrees east. Find the distance from airport A to airport C to the nearest mile. Now, I think the trickiest part about this question is understanding what these degrees mean. So if we start at A and we go to B and we have a north, so if we're looking at a compass of north, 42 degrees east, from here to here, that's telling us that this angle is 42 degrees. So it's that angle outside of our triangle. It's the angle from north. We've gone 690 miles. And then from B to C, we're using that compass again. So now we have south, and from south, we're going east, and this angle is 81 degrees. We want to know, what is this distance? This distance was 525. So, one of the math tricks that we can use is if we pull all the way back from our geometry days, we have this north-south compass line. These are parallel. And when we have a line going through them, a transversal, we know that this angle and this angle equal each other. So we have 42 degrees here as well, based off of what we know from geometry class. So now I can tell what this angle is in total. I have 42 degrees and 81 degrees. So total I have 123 degrees at the top of our triangle. I now have enough knowledge to find my missing variable. So what we'll do is we'll use b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine b. Because really what we're looking for, if I let my sides copy my angles, we're looking for that b. So, based on what we know, this is going to be a squared 525 squared plus c squared 690 squared minus 2 times 525 times 690 times cosine. And cosine of b, we just found out b is 123 degrees. And if we throw this into our calculators, we get a big number. We've got 114,635.981. But this is b squared. So to take the square root of that gives us our b, which is approximately 1070.6. So the airport A is approximately 1070.6 miles away from airport C. And that is the end of 8.3.